First contact through fire. The Helios research station hung in the darkness between Jupiter and Saturn, its solar panels gleaming in the dim starlight. Inside the station's primary observation deck, Dr. Elena Santos stared at her holographic displays with growing confusion. The quantum readings made no sense. "Computer, run the analysis again," she commanded, her dark eyes fixed on the shifting patterns of energy that danced across her screen. This was the fourth time she'd requested a recheck, but the results remained the same. The signal she detected wasn't just unusual. It defied everything she understood about physics. It appeared to be propagating faster than light, something that should have been impossible according to every textbook she'd ever read. Elena's fingers moved across the haptic interface, adjusting parameters and fine-tuning the station's ultra-sensitive quantum arrays. After 15 years of studying deep space signals, she learned to trust her instincts. Something about this transmission felt different, almost alive. "Dr. Santos." The station's AI, interrupted her concentration. "I've completed the fourth analysis. The signal's structure remains consistent with previous scans. However, I've detected an embedded pattern within the quantum fluctuations." Elena straightened in her zero-gravity chair. "Show me." The holographic display shifted, revealing layers of mathematical equations woven into the signal's fabric. Elena's breath caught in her throat. This wasn't random noise. It was a language written in pure mathematics. "ARIA, wake up Station Commander Chen. He needs to see this." Within minutes, Commander David Chen floated through the observation deck's entrance, his silver hair drifting in the zero-gravity. Despite being pulled from sleep, his eyes were sharp and alert. "This better be important, Dr. Santos. We're not exactly running a night shift out here." Elena didn't speak. Instead, she gestured to the display. Chen's expression shifted from mild annoyance to intense focus as he studied the patterns. "Is this what I think it is?" he asked quietly. "If you think it's an artificial signal using quantum entanglement to transmit information faster than light, then yes," Elena replied. "But that's not the most interesting part. ARIA, show the commander the embedded message." The AI complied, highlighting the mathematical patterns. Chen's eyes widened as he read the universal language of numbers and equations. "It's a distress call," Elena explained. "But here's the strange part. They're specifically asking for Earth's help, not the Centaurians, not the Proxima Coalition, not any of the dozen more advanced civilizations we've made contact with. Us." Chen frowned. "Why would they choose humanity? We've barely established colonies on Mars and Europa. There are species out there with technology centuries ahead of ours. That's what makes this so fascinating," Elena said, pulling up another set of readings. "The signal origin is approximately 1,200 light-years away in the Perseus arm. But look at the energy signature required to send this message." The numbers scrolled across the screen. Chen whistled softly. "That's more power than our entire solar system generates in a year." "Exactly. Whoever sent this has technology far beyond our understanding. Yet they're asking for our help specifically. The question is, why?" Before Chen could respond, Aria's voice cut through the conversation. "Dr. Santos, Commander Chen, I finished decoding another layer of the message. There appears to be a temporal component." New data flooded the screens. Elena's face paled as she read the numbers. "They're giving us a deadline. Whatever they need help with, we have exactly 30 days before." She paused, double-checking her calculations. "Before something they call the cascade begins." Chen pushed away from the display, floating toward the observation window. Jupiter's massive form dominated the view, its great red spot a constant reminder of the universe's raw power. How long would it take our fastest ship to reach those coordinates? The UES Prometheus could make it in 28 days using the new quantum fold drive, Elena answered. "But Commander, that's a prototype vessel. It's never been tested at these distances. And if we don't try, An advanced civilization that specifically asked for humanity's help might face extinction. Chen turned back to face her, his expression resolute. Dr. Santos, how would you like to see your quantum theories tested in the field? Elena blinked. Sir, I'm recommending you for the mission. No one understands quantum mechanics like you do. And if these beings are using quantum technology we don't comprehend, we'll need your expertise. A mixture of excitement and fear coursed through Elena's veins. After years of studying signals from the stars, she might finally get to meet the beings who sent them. But first, she needed to understand why. Out of all the advanced civilizations in the known galaxy, they had chosen humanity as their last hope. RIA, send an emergency transmission to Earth Command, Chen ordered. Priority 1. Tell them. He paused, looking at the complex mathematical patterns still dancing across the screens. Tell them the galaxy is calling, and for some reason, they want to talk to the new kids on the block. As the AI began composing the message, Elena returned to studying the signal. Something in its structure nagged at her consciousness, a pattern within patterns that seemed familiar somehow. She had 30 days to figure it out. 30 days to prepare for humanity's greatest challenge yet. In the vast darkness between the planets, the Helios station continued its silent vigil, while inside, humanity's next great adventure was about to begin. The stars had thrown down a gauntlet, and Earth's response would reshape the galaxy's understanding of their youngest spacefaring species. The impossible mission. The United Earth Council chamber in Geneva hummed with tension. 300 representatives from Earth's unified nations sat in concentric circles, their attention focused on the holographic display at the center of the room. Dr. Elena Santos's image floated above the floor, her presentation on the mysterious quantum signal drawing to a close. In summary, Elena said, her voice steady despite addressing the most powerful governing body on Earth, we're dealing with a civilization capable of manipulating quantum mechanics at a level we can barely comprehend. They have technology that makes our most advanced achievements look primitive, and yet they've specifically requested our help. Admiral Sarah Hayes, commander of Earth's defense fleet, leaned forward in her seat. Dr. Santos, in your professional opinion, could this be a trap? Elena had expected this question. The energy required to send this signal across 1,200 light-years using quantum entanglement is staggering. If they wanted to harm us, they have the technology to do so without this elaborate setup. Unless, General Marcus Wong interrupted, they need something only humans can provide. Something worth this elaborate deception. The chamber erupted in murmured discussions. Council President Amara Okafor raised her hand for silence. Dr. Santos, you mentioned a deadline. This cascade event they warned about. Can you explain it further? Elena gestured, and new equations filled the air around her. The mathematics are complex, but from what we've decoded, the cascade appears to be a quantum-level event that will affect an entire sector of space. Think of it as a dam breaking, but instead of water, it's the fabric of space-time itself that's going to rupture. And they expect us to help prevent this. Someone called out incredulously. We barely understand quantum mechanics ourselves. That might be exactly why they chose us. A new voice cut through the chamber. Dr. James Morrison, chief engineer of the UES Prometheus project, stepped into the holographic field beside Elena. Our limited understanding of quantum mechanics means we're not bound by the same theoretical constraints as more advanced civilizations. We still think outside the box because we haven't fully built the box yet. President Okafor's dark eyes studied both scientists carefully. The Prometheus is our only ship capable of reaching their coordinates in time. It's also our most expensive military asset, with experimental technology we've barely tested. You're asking us to risk everything on a mission that by all logical measures, we're underqualified to attempt. Madam President, Elena replied, history is filled with moments where humanity faced challenges we were underqualified to handle. When we first looked up at the moon, we were underqualified to reach it. When we dreamed of faster-than-light travel, We were underqualified to achieve it, but we did it anyway. Morrison nodded. The Prometheus's quantum fold drive works on principles that more advanced civilizations claimed were impossible. Maybe that's why they're reaching out to us. Sometimes the greatest innovations come from those who don't know something can't be done. The chamber fell silent as President Okafor stood. She walked to the center of the room, passing through the holograms to stand between them. Dr. Santos, if we approve this mission, how many crew members would you need? Elena shared a quick glance with Morrison. A minimal crew of 12 could handle the Prometheus. We've already selected candidates with expertise in quantum physics, genobiology, and advanced engineering. And you're confident they'd volunteer for what could be a one-way mission? Morrison smiled. Madam President, we had to turn volunteers away. Every scientist and engineer on Earth wants to be part of humanity's first deep space rescue mission. President Okafor turned to address the Council. Members of the United Earth Council, we face an unprecedented decision. An advanced civilization has asked for our help, believing that our primitive understanding of physics might be exactly what they need. If we succeed, we prove humanity's worth among the stars. If we fail, she paused, looking at each section of the chamber, we fail knowing we dared to try when the galaxy called for aid. The voting system activated, holographic buttons appearing before each council member. The chamber held its breath as the votes were cast. In the end, it wasn't even close. The mission was approved by an overwhelming majority. 48 hours later, Elena stood in the Prometheus's quantum mechanics lab, her new home for the next month. The ship was a marvel of human engineering, all sleek lines and advanced composites. Through the viewport, she could see Earth growing smaller as they made their final preparations for the quantum fold jump. Dr. Santos, the ship's AI, Araya 2, announced, Captain Rodriguez requests your presence on the bridge. We're ready to begin the fold sequence. Elena took one last look at her homeworld. Tell him I'm on my way. As she made her way through the ship's corridors, she felt the subtle vibration of the quantum fold drive powering up. The technology was based partly on her own theories about quantum entanglement, theories that more advanced civilizations had dismissed as impossible. Yet here they were, about to attempt the longest quantum fold jump in human history. The bridge was a hub of controlled activity when she arrived. Captain Miguel Rodriguez nodded to her as she took her station. Dr. Santos, your quantum fold calculations are ready for final verification. Elena reviewed the numbers one last time. Everything looked correct, but they were about to attempt something no human ship had ever done. The margin for error was microscopic. Calculations verified, Captain. We're as ready as we'll ever be. Rodriguez squared his shoulders. Very well. All hands, prepare for quantum fold. Dr. Santos, begin the countdown. As Elena started the sequence, she couldn't help but wonder what they would find at their destination. An advanced civilization had reached across the stars to ask for humanity's help. Whatever their reason, she was determined to prove they had made the right choice. Quantum fold in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The universe bent around them, and humanity's greatest leap into the unknown began. The nature of innovation. The UES Prometheus emerged from quantum fold in a sea of impossibilities. Dr. Elena Santos stared at her instruments in disbelief as readings flooded her screens. The laws of physics themselves seemed different here, as if reality had been rewritten by an artist with a peculiar sense of humor. Status report, Captain Rodriguez demanded, his voice steady despite the strange colors swirling outside the ship's viewports. Sir, Elena responded, quantum readings are. I've never seen anything like this. It's as if space itself is more fluid here, less constrained by normal physical laws. Through the main viewport, they could see their destination, a massive structure that defied comprehension. It was a perfect sphere, approximately the size of Earth's moon, but it seemed to exist in more dimensions than should be possible. Parts of it appeared to fold in on themselves, creating geometric patterns that hurt the eyes to look at. Araya 2, Analysis, Rodriguez ordered. The ship's AI took a moment longer than usual to respond. Captain, the structure appears to be a quantum computer of unprecedented scale. However, its operational principles violate several fundamental laws of physics as we understand them. A new voice filled the bridge, seemingly coming from everywhere and nowhere at once. Welcome, humans of Earth. We are the Axiom. Thank you for coming. The crew watched in amazement as a figure materialized in the center of the bridge. It was humanoid in basic shape, but its form shifted constantly, made of what appeared to be pure mathematics given visual form. Equations and formulas flowed across its surface like water. I am Theorem, a representative of the Axiom, the being said. We apologize for the dramatic entrance, but time is critically short. Elena stepped forward, her scientific curiosity overwhelming her caution. Your message. You said something called the cascade was coming. What exactly are we dealing with? Theorem's form rippled. Follow me. It will be easier to show you. The being gestured, and suddenly the bridge crew found themselves standing in what appeared to be a vast control room within the sphere. Holographic displays surrounded them, showing complex mathematical formulas that made Elena's most advanced theories look like elementary school arithmetic. 10,000 years ago, Theorem began. Our civilization achieved what we believe to be perfect understanding of quantum mechanics. We created this computational sphere to process and control quantum interactions across entire sectors of space. We thought we had mastered the fundamental laws of reality. The beam's form darkened slightly. We were wrong. Our very mastery has become our downfall. With another gesture, Theorem brought up a new display. It showed what appeared to be a crack in space itself, a wound in reality that pulsed with impossible energies. The universe, Theorem continued, is not meant to be perfectly understood or controlled. In our arrogance, we tried to impose absolute mathematical precision on quantum interactions. But quantum mechanics is inherently probabilistic, chaotic. By trying to force perfect order, we've created a paradox that's growing exponentially. The cascade. Elena breathed, beginning to understand. Yes, in 27 days, the paradox will reach critical mass. The quantum fabric of space-time will unravel across this entire sector. Trillions of lives will be lost, and the damage may be irreparable. Captain Rodriguez frowned. This is fascinating, but I still don't understand why you called us. Surely there are more advanced civilizations better equipped to help. Theorem's form brightened. That is precisely why we need you. Every advanced civilization we contacted approached the problem with the same fundamental assumption, that the solution must lie in more precise control, more perfect understanding. But that approach only makes the paradox worse. And we don't share that assumption, Elena said slowly, her mind racing. Because we're still grappling with quantum mechanics, still comfortable with uncertainty. You see possibilities we cannot, Theorem confirmed. Your theories about quantum entanglement, Dr. Santos, the ones that power your fold drive, they were dismissed by every advanced civilization as impossible. Yet they work precisely because they embrace quantum uncertainty rather than trying to eliminate it. Elena moved closer to the displays showing the crack in space-time. You're hoping we can see a solution that more advanced civilizations are literally incapable of considering. Yes, your species' greatest strength is that you don't yet know what's impossible. You're still willing to try ideas that any rational, advanced civilization would dismiss out of hand. The implications were staggering. Humanity's relatively primitive understanding of quantum mechanics might actually be an advantage. Their willingness to think outside established scientific principles, because they hadn't fully established those principles yet, could be exactly what was needed. Show me everything you have on the paradox, Elena said. Every measurement, every failed solution attempt. And most importantly, show me what your most advanced civilizations considered too impossible to even try. As Theorem began transferring data to their systems, Elena caught Captain Rodriguez's eye. He nodded slightly, understanding passing between them. They had 27 days to solve a problem that had stumped civilizations thousands of years more advanced than humanity. Their only advantage was their ignorance, their ability to think wrong thoughts and consider impossible solutions. Area 2. Elena called out, set up a quantum simulation space in the main lab. And do me a favor, disable all safeguards that prevent violations of known physical laws. The A's response held a note of what might have been excitement. Understood, Doctor. Shall I also disable the algorithms that flag mathematically impossible results? Elena smiled. Exactly. Where we're going, the impossible might be exactly what we need. As the crew of the Prometheus began their work, the crack in space-time continued to grow. They had less than a month to prove that humanity's greatest weakness, their limited understanding, might actually be their greatest strength. Breaking the rules. 20 days until the cascade, and Dr. Elena Santos hadn't slept in 36 hours. The Prometheus's main lab had been transformed into a chaos of holographic displays, quantum simulations, and what more advanced civilizations would probably consider scientific heresy. Try it again, she told Area-2, rubbing her tired eyes. But this time, ignore the quantum coherence principles entirely. Doctor, the AI responded, that would violate at least 3 fundamental laws of physics. Exactly. Elena managed a weary smile. That's what we're here for. The lab's main display showed their latest simulation attempt. The crack in space-time had grown significantly over the past week, now visible to the naked eye from the Prometheus's viewports as a dark wound in reality. Conventional attempts to seal it had failed spectacularly. Captain Rodriguez entered the lab, carrying 2 cups of real coffee, a luxury they'd brought from Earth. Any progress? Define progress, Elena said, accepting the coffee gratefully. We've successfully proven that every conventional approach will make things worse. The Axiom's quantum computers are too perfect, too precise. They're trying to solve chaos with order, and it's like trying to stop a flood with a ruler. And our unconventional approaches. Elena gestured to a nearby display, showing the results of their latest failed attempt. We tried introducing controlled uncertainty into their quantum matrix. The good news is it didn't make things worse. The bad news is it didn't help either. Perhaps, a new voice interrupted, you are still thinking too conventionally. Theorem materialized in the lab, its mathematical form slightly dimmer than when they'd first met. The strain of containing the quantum paradox was clearly taking its toll on the Axiom. What do you mean? Elena asked. You are trying to solve the paradox by adding uncertainty to our systems, but you are still approaching it as a problem to be solved. What if that itself is the flaw in our thinking? Rodriguez frowned. If we're not trying to solve it, what should we be trying to do? Before Theorem could respond, Area-2 interrupted. Dr. Santos, I've detected an anomaly in Simulation Trial 2247. You may want to see this. The main display shifted, showing the results of one of their failed attempts from the previous day. Elena had been half asleep when she programmed that one, throwing conventional physics out the window entirely. Wait, she said, suddenly alert. Area-2, focus on that pattern there, in the quantum fluctuations. Does that look familiar to anyone else? The crew gathered around the display. The pattern was subtle, a rhythm in the quantum chaos that seemed almost. It's like music, Rodriguez said suddenly. The way it repeats but never quite the same way twice. Elena's exhausted mind made an impossible leap. Theorem, you said we're still thinking of this as a problem to be solved. What if it's not a problem at all? What if the paradox isn't a flaw in quantum mechanics, but a natural evolution of it? The Axiom representative's form flickered with interest. Explain. Look at the pattern. It's not random chaos, but it's not ordered either. It's like jazz. Structured improvisation. What if the universe isn't trying to break your perfect quantum computer? What if it's trying to teach it to dance? That's impossible, Theorem stated, but there was a note of uncertainty in its voice. "Impossible is what we do best," Rodriguez replied with a grin. "Elena, what are you thinking?" She was already moving to the quantum interface terminal. Area 2, new simulation. But this time, instead of trying to contain or control the quantum fluctuations, let's try to harmonize with them. Like joining a dance instead of trying to stop it. "Doctor," the AI responded, "that would require fundamentally rewriting how the Axiom's quantum computers interpret reality. The mathematical principles involved would be..." "Wrong," Elena suggested. "Impossible." "Perfect. That's exactly what we need. Captain, remember when we first tested the quantum fold drive?" Rodriguez nodded. "Every expert said it would tear the ship apart because we didn't fully understand the principles involved. But it worked because we didn't try to control quantum entanglement perfectly. We worked with its natural tendency to be unpredictable. We turned a bug into a feature." Elena's fingers flew across the interface. "Theorem, I need direct access to your quantum computer's core programming. We're going to teach it to stop being perfect and start being alive." The Axiom representative hesitated. "What you're suggesting? It would mean abandoning 10,000 years of scientific certainty. Our entire civilization is built on the principle of perfect quantum control. And that perfection is killing you," Elena said softly. "Sometimes survival means learning to let go of what you think you know." For a long moment, Theorem was silent. Then its form brightened slightly. "Access granted. May your impossible ideas save us all." The next 72 hours passed in a blur of caffeine and quantum mechanics. Elena and her team worked tirelessly, rewriting the fundamental principles of the Axiom's quantum computers. They threw out perfect mathematical precision and replaced it with algorithms that embraced uncertainty. They taught the most advanced computer in known space how to improvise. With 15 days left until the cascade, they were ready to test their solution. The Prometheus's crew gathered on the bridge, watching as their changes propagated through the Axiom systems. "If this works," Elena told Captain Rodriguez quietly, "we're about to witness the birth of something entirely new. A quantum computer that doesn't just process reality. It dances with it. And if it doesn't work..." She managed a tired smile. "Then we fail spectacularly. But at least we'll fail doing something no one else would dare to try." Rodriguez nodded and turned to address their hosts. "Theorem, we're ready when you are." The mathematical beam's form pulsed with what might have been anticipation or fear. "Initiating quantum matrix reconfiguration. May your beautiful madness save us all." The universe held its breath as humanity's impossible solution began to unfold. Legacy among the stars. The moment of truth arrived with a symphony of quantum harmonics. As Elena's changes rippled through the Axiom's vast computational network, the space around them began to transform. Colors that had no names in any human language danced across the viewport, and reality itself seemed to hold its breath. Quantum matrix restructuring at 30%, Area 2 reported. The paradox is responding. Through the Prometheus's main viewport, they could see the crack in space-time pulsing with new energy. But instead of the destructive force they'd feared, it seemed almost curious, like a living thing exploring its environment. 40%, the AI continued. Detecting unprecedented quantum coherence patterns. Theorem's form flickered rapidly, equations flowing across its surface in cascades. "This is impossible. The quantum computer isn't fighting the paradox anymore. It's learning from it." Elena watched her instruments with intense focus. "That's exactly what it's doing. We taught it to stop trying to impose order and start adapting to chaos. Look at the harmonic resonance patterns. The displays showed something unprecedented. The Axiom's perfect quantum computer was evolving, developing new ways to process reality that no engineer had ever programmed. It was learning to improvise, to dance with the quantum uncertainty instead of trying to control it. 60% complete. Area 2 announced. Quantum coherence is spreading throughout the sector. Captain Rodriguez leaned forward in his chair. Elena, is it working? Are we stopping the cascade? She shook her head, a smile forming on her face. We're not stopping it, Captain. We're helping it happen, but on our terms. The cascade isn't a destruction of reality. It's an evolution of it. The universe wasn't trying to break the Axiom's perfect system. It was trying to help it grow. Through the viewport, they watched as the crack in space-time began to pulse with new life. Instead of tearing reality apart, it was transforming it, creating new patterns of quantum interaction that had never existed before. 80%, Area 2 reported. Quantum harmonization spreading exponentially. Theorem's form suddenly brightened to brilliant intensity. I understand now. For 10,000 years, we thought we had achieved perfect knowledge. But perfection was stagnation. We needed to learn how to change, how to grow. We needed to learn how to be imperfect. Matrix restructuring complete. Area 2 announced. The cascade has been transformed. The crack in space-time had become something entirely new, a flowing river of quantum possibility that connected everything it touched. The Axiom's computational sphere now pulsed with living light, its perfect mathematics replaced by something more organic, more alive. Elena checked her readings one final time, then turned to Captain Rodriguez. We did it, sir, but we did more than just prevent a disaster. We've helped create something entirely new. Theorem's form had stabilized into something different, still mathematical, but now with flowing, organic patterns that never repeated exactly the same way twice. The axiom will never be the same, it said. And we are grateful for that. You humans, with your beautiful imperfection, have taught us that true wisdom isn't about knowing everything. It's about always being ready to learn more. Over the next few days, as the transformed quantum network stabilized, representatives from other advanced civilizations began arriving. They came to study what humans had achieved, not through superior technology or perfect understanding, but through their willingness to embrace uncertainty and imagine impossible solutions. 1 month after the crisis, the Prometheus prepared for its journey home. The ship's quantum fold drive had been enhanced by what they'd learned, promising a faster and smoother return trip. But that wasn't the only gift the Axiom had given them. You're certain about this? Elena asked Theorem as they made final preparations for departure. The being's form rippled with what she now recognized as amusement. We are. The Axiom has voted unanimously to establish a permanent exchange of knowledge with Earth. Not to teach you to be more like us, but to learn from your unique perspective. Your species' greatest strength isn't your technology or your intelligence, but your ability to look at the impossible and say, why not? Captain Rodriguez joined them, reading the final agreement on his tablet. An entire research institute, built on Earth, dedicated to exploring impossible solutions to impossible problems, staffed by both humans and representatives from advanced civilizations. The Institute of Impossible Innovation. Elena read from the document, smiling. I like it. There's more, Theorem added. We've also begun restructuring the quantum computers of other advanced civilizations, teaching them to embrace uncertainty, as we have learned to do. A new age is beginning, one where perfect knowledge takes a step back to make room for perfect curiosity. As the Prometheus broke orbit and prepared for its return journey, Elena took one last look at the transformed computational sphere. Its perfect mathematical surface now rippled with living patterns, a testament to the power of human innovation. You know, she said to Captain Rodriguez, when we first got that distress call, I never imagined we'd end up teaching the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy how to think more like humans. Rodriguez smiled. That's because you were thinking logically about it. Sometimes the best solutions come when we don't know enough to know what's impossible. As the ship engaged its quantum fold drive, Elena reflected on how this mission had changed humanity's place in the galaxy. They were no longer just the new kids on the block, the primitive species still learning the basics. They had become something far more valuable. The ones who could look at a problem that had stumped the greatest minds in the galaxy and say, "Have you tried doing it wrong?" The Prometheus vanished into quantum space, carrying home a message that would reshape humanity's understanding of their role in the cosmos. They had proved that sometimes the greatest innovation comes not from knowing more, but from being willing to know less and imagine more. In the transformed sector of space they left behind, the quantum computers of 1,000 advanced civilizations began learning to dance with uncertainty, guided by the beautiful imperfection that humanity had taught them to embrace. The impossibility revolution had begun.